There we go. Hello. Just make sure your audio's up. Your audio's up. Your audio's up. There we go. You're good to go. There we go. You're good to go. There we go. You're good to go. There we go. Oh no, it's echoing. Okay, I realized why it was echoing. It's because I had the stream playing on a web browser in the background. That fixes that.
There you go.
Alright, problem solved. Welcome to the Resonite Art Team office hours. It's a little bit later than usual, technically because of daylight savings time, but it's still the same time we usually have it each week, just to make it easier on folks. I know the Discord calendar says otherwise, but I'll figure out how to tweak it. But definitely welcome, folks. Feel free to ask questions here. It's a Q&A. Just end it with a question mark, and it'll pop up in a chat here if you want to ask about Resonite itself, how to use it in creative workflow, what the art team has been up to, general Resonite questions, Blender questions, stuff like that. I am also going to introduce ourselves quickly. I'm Aegis Wolf, and this is Rushen of the Resonite Art Team. We're over here in the
Hello.
Resmonic world,
Yeah.
chilling out in one of the lobbies. One of this burning fire crystal bonfire
Is
pit.
the Twitch chat thingy working?
Should be connected. People are still rolling in, so
Yep.
yeah. I set you
I
to
may or may not be
broadcast.
eating mini tacos.
That sounds good. I had homemade tacos not too long ago.
Mm.
It's pretty good. Some chicken tacos, made some refried beans, Spanish rice, chopped up and sauteed onions, peppers. That's tasty. Welcome to the
Hello.
stream, Phoenix.
We don't got a whole ton to go over, so we'll just mostly go for questions if people want to ask them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess depending on how much we get or how active it is, we could end early as well.
Yeah, depends.
DLC took up a lot of of our time over the last couple months.
Yeah,
So.
kind of like still kind of in a transition between period between projects, but there's some business related things we're working on here and there, and
Mm-hmm.
regards of what the art team is doing. Like
Yeah,
I've been,
daylight savings has messed up the timing in Discord because it just doesn't. It's like the only thing that doesn't update with daylight savings for some reason.
yeah,
So our local time, it's 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. right now, which is when we usually start the streams.
kind of give a summary of what I've been up to this week. Two main things I did make GitHub issues on them. One of them is creating a new badge for participants of the Halloween event that we just had in a alternate version of this world, and a new updater for the stamp book that we used for the block party event. We're going to be having another one in November. Stay tuned in the calendars and events for more info on that. Yeah, the updater has been something that RustyBot's been working on, so I'm going to be helping them with a new model for the little pedestal you use to update it. Other than that, probably looking into working on some of the next upcoming projects that the art team is going to work on, and that kind of segues into the question that we have so far for our last week within the forums. Is the art team currently working on anything related to the new user experience or new user onboarding tutorial? Not at the moment. It's something that we want to revisit right now, so we're kind of switching gears for a bit to work on a few other things. And once we're ready to approach it again with a more fleshed out kind of approach, we definitely will be. It'll be much more in depth than what we have now. Because currently, the scope for the previous revisit was just to refresh what we have right now, due to the time constraints we had. And now we're just simply gonna work on probably a few things and a fun thing which Brooks really wanted to work on for a while and definitely has a chance to. That'll be pretty fun to work on, and that's going to be the Apollo Reconstructed project. To kind of explain what that is, and I think even Fricks as well too explained a stream or two ago. Be a good thing to ask him on his own stream too.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and for those more technically inclined, do not forget to check out the new rendering discussion that's going on the GitHub.
Yes.
That was posted in the announcements by Fruits. We're looking at getting a new renderer, and we are looking to the community for suggestions, input, stuff like that. There's a lot more information on it in the announcement and in the GitHub, but check it out if you're interested. But yeah, it'll be fun once we get onto a new renderer. Like Fruit said, that would allow like custom shaders and a bunch of other really fun stuff.
And more ways to optimize this game, because now, instead of being more CPU heavy, now it's more GPU intense, depending on what you do. So, yeah, definitely if folks want to have a way to help the platform, this is the biggest thing they can help us with. For sure. There's 2 GitHub posts that Fruits has posted there. One about like the philosophy on like how the design would be and requirements, and the other one is like the process of how this go down with people helping him out. I bet there will be a few more things talked about that on the recap stream this Friday. Or so, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget, folks, you can always ask questions in the chat by ending it with a question mark. Otherwise, we'll just yap around this fire.
At least for a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
A little fire made of crystals. My legs are too big for the little chair. They just is sitting. I have to go to crab mode.
Crab. I don't. Although I could probably get one of these and then scale it up. Actually, I'll just spawn one out. A beanbag chair.
My legs are too long for the The default anchors.
And even if I take one and just like scale it up or something.
I think with the way it's set up, that still scales me.
Oof. So I can technically scale you down like this.
Hello.
Now you have a small room. There we go. Now you can jump out.
Does this look okay? I actually can't tell.
It's alright, though you're kind of like stretching the legs a little too far. Looks almost painful. Ow.
Yeah, me and chairs don't get along. Honestly, that's how it is IRL too.
Hmm.
Let's see. How many people we got on the thing?
About 16 users. Welcome
Okay.
to the stream, Snappy.
Hello, hello. You guys have any questions about content or what we might be working on at the moment, or even some mechanics? Just let us know. If you put a question mark at the end of your question, then it will show up on a little panel next to us that we can pull out and show off and talk about. We don't have a super ton of things on our side at the moment, since we're either just kind of getting ready to work on things or trying to figure out which project is the highest priority next.
Yeah.
I think the last time that we were in this world, we were still working on it, and now it is pretty much done. There's a few tweaks here and there that we want to do, like say to the skybox, which is going to be a tweak in general to it, because we're just using the Dawn skybox.
Yeah. We're using it as a
Which,
base. Ah.
oh yeah, yeah. You want to grab that?
Yeah, let me bring this question up here. Make sure. Let me just remove the. Okay, thank you. Snappy Dur asks, do you guys have any tips doing an initial blocking out of a map? If you do that in Resonite, I have ideas, but a hard time getting a basis started. Alright, I actually am going to bring in an example here for a world design I've been wanting to make.
You're like a drawing pencil too.
Yeah.
Sometimes what we do is we'll start off by drawing the map in 3D with like a pen inside of Resonite, and then we'll get like square boxes and place them over those pen marks to make a more kind of structured layout. And then if we have the building pieces inside Resonite, then we can just use that as a thing to line up like the modular pieces. But sometimes we'll export that collection of boxes as a mesh and put it into, say, something like Blender, so that we can model the actual map around the white box.
Like, here's some examples that I've went through and kind of sketched out using a pen in Resonite. And I've done this with, like, tools. For example, I sketch out, like, the design, how I roughly would want it look like, and then kind of model a rough blocked out model in Blender. Or even, like, for example, this library design here, I would kind of draw out, label how big it would be, and like a tip about like how Resonite does their units, it's all in meters. So 1 by 1 unit cube in Resonite is a meter in all 3 dimensions. So kind of like roughly figuring out the scale of an object. You can probably create like schematics or like plans on how you would model it. You can go from there to using primitive meshes or procedural meshes in general to kind of like block out a layout of a world.
You recognize this one, Aegis?
Yep, this one is from the Meta Movie project.
This is an actual white box that we used when developing that map. This is specifically the vent room section map for the Meta Movie project. We took a sketch and then we did a little bit of white boxing, and we even blew the white box up and walked around it just to get a feel for its scale, how long the tunnel should be, where different rooms should be.
Reference images here and there scattered across. Even when it was glued together, it's not like baked into one mesh, it's just glued into one object that you can just grab, move around. Definitely a shape tool is useful.
Oop,
it's
that's
just
too big one.
another it's another step. Like if I go into my inventory real quick and just like grab a brush here. But yeah, it's like good to kind of sketch out what you want. Here's another example.
That's the ending part of the vent room.
Oh man, that's been
Yep.
years since I seen
Yep.
this. Even just something as simple as like this can give you a good idea how you want to lay out things first. And then you go from there, you make like the more fine-tuned like measurements of how big you want things to be or what kind of references you do. First things first though, you get a ton, and I mean a ton of reference material. You scatter them around yourself and you use as like, okay, what do I want to take from what? You want to take like certain kind of environments or character design or world design in your case.
You can even see some of the references we used for the vent transition rooms. They're baked, they're glued into that white box. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Whether it be game screenshots, concept art, movie screenshots, etc., or artwork that you'd find on things like ArtStation, definitely helps out a bit. And with Resonite, you can even make some of the prototype stuff functional. Like even make those fan blades in these ventilation shafts spin. I have like a button to turn
Mm-hmm.
it on and off with a simple component or protoflux script. I can take that kind of stuff and refine it later. So let's see if I can find some concept of the cloud home as well. Aha. It's like one of the older ones. Let's see if we can find a larger sketch of it. I
We also
know
have this
it's
one, which is
hiding
fun.
somewhere. Whoa.
Oh, that's too big. Well, let me get the small version of that.
Oh, I was gonna scale it down.
That was the to scale version of the sketch.
Oh yeah. This is a crazy sketch. It's actually built out of multiple sketches here. Rue wanted to create a like a game within Resonite that is inspired off of like uh kind of multiple different sci-fi genres or games. And essentially the premise is you want to go over the premise?
Um, it's not too baked into stone yet, and I think I'll talk more about it once we're closer to actually like having something playable. But as a personal project, I wanted to make a game. It's gonna be kind of like a 4 to 6 person kind of game. For the most part, you are supposed to be taking the ship and exploring something, and trying to not have it explode. So there's going to be like a person doing engineering, a person flying the ship, a person manning guns, similar to like Pulsar or Void Crew, something like that. But playable in VR and in desktop in Resonite. Um, like I said, it's just a personal project, so it's not going like super quickly. Just kind of doing it in my free time when I have time. And this is the concept for the ship itself, which
And,
is going to be the entire map. So it's going to be quite big and detailed.
yeah. And like to be more specific about this ship as well, it's actually built out of multiple sketches, and those sketches are like the different decks, and they were kind of glued together after saving them individually, separately before, and then kind of like gluing them together, seeing how like ladders or stairs would connect. And then once the rough like placement heights and all that of the different decks are set, then like an outer shell was sketched on top of it.
And like I said, we could just export this to Blender and start making the actual model with the 3D sketch next to it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's perfect for kind of like doing that quick work. Much better than having just a 2D version of it as well.
Yeah. And you can also use like primitive shapes alongside this as well. So usually a good approach is kind of like a hybrid approach where, I mean, depends on what you want to do. Sometimes you want to take the whole sketch in directly, or sometimes you want to like block out some more of the pieces, like say these gas canisters on the side of the ship, and just be like spheres using the shape tool, or like some of these engines can just be cylinders, just so you have like a 3D solid like reference of how big some of the elements of this ship would be. And then from there, you build out the rest. As long as you got a rough like size of it, the actual determined size of like some of the other elements can just not matter until like when it's completely fleshed out. Say when you gotta change the size of a certain room, doesn't have to be like I mean exact 1-to-1, as long as it meets the needs. I could have sworn I had a concept of this. Maybe it's under. I guess I'm gonna have to organize some more of these folders. That's another internal project of ours. Making us.
You know, why don't we showcase where is it? This one? Because this is also technically like a type of white boxing.
Testing old
Plus this one's
V1
like a little interactive.
Ah,
So you can also do this kind of like for game mechanics. In this case, I knew I wanted a turret to work a certain way, and I wanted to play with a bunch of different control schemes. So I set up this little tiny controller and a little bit of animated stuff on this little doohickey here. You can see. So Aegis can kind of see where they're shooting from on that little screen. The turret in the real world just kind of spins around. It's set up honestly just dead simple because it's mostly just to try to figure out which control schemes feel good. Um, this is one that I personally like, but you can see it's just like a couple primitive shapes. There's like literally a torus as a sight. It's not even like lined up for the guns, but you know, it works, and it allows me to check or test a bunch of different like ways of controlling this turret without really having to build the whole thing. I even like jury rigged some of the guns that we were going to use for another project on there. They're literally just inherent to it, and I hooked up the protoflux to the triggers. The equivalent of like duct taping some string to the trigger.
you can even see the little camera that's in the middle of it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like if you want to make a game or a map, start simple. Do something like this, get it working the way you want, and then come back and put in the like nice looking models and stuff. That way things feel more fleshed out. You know that it works to begin with. Um, and yeah, it's just a pretty easy and fun way of doing it.
Like a good piece of advice that I've seen online is you don't build the game first. You build the systems for it. Then you have a whole toolbox of systems that are just pieced together and you have a game. That way you can reuse these systems for multiple things. Like this kind of system can be used for a lot of different things.
Yep.
You can just reuse it or use it as a basis to build a better one or one that works completely different. Yeah. And as always, with
There's
the
another question.
oh, there is. Yes, thank you. So this one also from, or this one's from Phoenix Bird Creature. So if I wanted to make a model of a real life object, I could trace its outline with a Resonite pen and export it in meters, and it should be accurately to scale in Blender. Yeah,
You
like
can
when
also
you,
just photo geometry it.
that's one thing you could do, but depending on what it is, if it's a shiny object, it might be difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, photogrammetry is a good way of doing it as well, though you may have to scale it to the proper scale as well after you do it. Depends on the approach. For example, I'm actually, you know what? It gives me reason to show one of my personal projects, which is a reference off of a real object. Let me get a screenshot of it. There we go. So, I got lucky with this one, having like a top-down view and perfect side view as well of this. But it's of a, well, it's of a Hot Wheels car. And for example, it actually has a physical like model that you can use as reference. You can kind of see a little bit in the background of it. But sometimes you might not have like the reference you need to trace it, but you can use like other parts of like reference to get the proper dimensions or proportions you want to model. It's like trying
Mm-hmm.
to draw in perspective a bit. You gotta find the how big is one part related to another. Like how big is the rear wing of this car related to, say, the sides wheel wells of the car? Are the wheel wells stretched or too thin, etc.?
Yeah, the general method for taking like real life objects into Blender is just take like profile photos of them and then take those into Blender, line them up, and like make the mesh from that image by just like kind of tracing it with quads or a cube, and then like extruding it.
Mm-hmm. Or weaving it together in like a mesh. And like this is actually how I started modeling in the first place. Was I took trying to find the exact car. Aha. I took the images of this car in particular and I took like because I had it physically, not in exact colors, but I took pictures of its front, its side, its back, the bottom of it, and like the top of it, and then started modeling off after that. And that's how I learned Blender, was basically tracing it.
Mm-hmm.
I still gotta make an interior of this one. That'd be pretty neat. Although I am gonna make an interior for this car.
Since there's
And
not a
make it
lot going
drivable.
on, you wanna end a little bit early?
Let's see, what time do we got?
It's 5:30. We've already done like half of one. We could just go for another like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. People still want to ask questions, and then
Yeah. Give it about 10.
yeah.
I'm probably going to be working on that updater model next. I do have an idea. I'm going to do the icon, but I think I can get the updater done first.
And that's for the sample, right?
The Not the stamp tool itself, but the stamp book.
Yep. So people
Yeah.
can update their books for the next block party.
Yep. Actually, I can find the.
You know, like what they did to the stamp book to update it?
They basically made a pedestal that you can like put it on, and then it updates it. That
No, I
that's
mean like the actual update itself, like what they changed.
uh not off of the top of my head, other than that it's an optimization
Oh, well, that's good. So
mainly, and also like updating it, touching it up, cleaning it, like mechanics wise. Visually, it's staying the same. It's just how things work under the hood.
yeah, I saw some people making some crazy stamps for those things.
Yeah. As for like the actual stamper thing, that's also going to be updated, but it's just something that people have to spawn out. It's better to have an updater for the stamp book because of people's stamps than to make an updater for the stamper. I should make a new stamp sticker or something. That'll be pretty neat. I think I have an idea exactly what I'm going to do. Because like I kind of tested it out with a image. If I can find it again. It was in my Resonite photos somewhere. It was during like Ravi's birthday, and I wanted to try out like a interesting effect with it. Basically, wanted to make something that kind of looks like those laser-based holograms. And then I took like a 3D photo within Resonite, and then kind of split it into three different quads that are like semi-transparent, and colored them red, green, and blue, and kind of slightly shifted them, and it made for a really cool effect. I just don't know where I left it. Aha! There it is. Although I'm gonna add like a more solid backing on it. This is not gonna show on stream because it's in stereoscopic, but
Hmm.
kind of has that little chromatic aberration look to it if I twist it.
Like a little hologram.
Mm-hmm. There's a really good video by I had their name, but it was like a science YouTuber that like went through the whole process of making these holograms, and you could
Isn't
buy
there like
kit.
what three brown, one blue, or
That's one of them, but it's the other
Odd
one.
Emporium?
Cloud Emporium. There we go. Yeah, they made an incredible video on like how to make them, and even like showcase the company that sells kits to make them. And it's like stuff that we'd see on like necklaces or trading cards or stuff like that. That kind of holograms. Or panes of glass. It's pretty neat. I could talk about those all day, but it's kind of hard to recreate them in Resonite because you would need like a whole 3D scene. Though I could probably do that with stencils. Okay, that's giving me ideas now. All right.
Speaking of 3D, um, I 3D printed the Resonite tool handle.
Do you have a photo of it that you can bring in? That'd be a
Um,
good thing to
I-
kind of.
yeah, hold on, let me go get it. Like I made the Resonite tool handle in the real world. Um,
Good thing to end
let
the
me see if I can
stream
get a
on.
picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll show that real quick, and then that'll probably be it. Just gonna grab a picture. Not the greatest picture in the world. My phone really sucks. So bear with me.
Speaking of printing, you
Mm,
said you had like a resin one, right?
yes, I have a resin 3D printer that can print at 5 micron resolution.
That means you could potentially print those lenticular lens sheets with them, because people have done that before. Mm.
Maybe. I want to get a better printer. This one is just kind of the one I have for now. It was actually too small for the handle, and I had to add fluid into it twice, which caused some like layer line issues. But there it is.
Exists.
It's bigger than it looks. My hands are just huge. It's about 6 inches from the top to the bottom, and it honestly just feels like a tool handle. And it fits pretty well. It'd probably be like an inch bigger for my hands, but for normal people's hands, it's probably just be like perfect size. Once I can get like a better print of it, I may try to make like uh better set up replicas of these things. I used to do prop making, um, and then get it painted, filled out, and whatnot. So it'll.
Yeah. I think I even have some ideas how to like make some of the other elements of this. Like say if we like shrunk the grip area and then be able
Mhm.
to just replace that with actual like grip material. Like
And
actual.
yes, I did in fact print it fully solid. There's a few reasons for that. A couple of the parts are pretty thin, especially like in IRL, and the object itself isn't manifold compliant. I had to make a special version of this model in Blender just to print it as you see it there. Also, putting a hole into a 3D model um, or hollowing it out for resin printers isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. Some of the slicing software has the ability to put holes in objects for drainage because obviously it's fluid, it needs to drain the fluid somehow. Um, that also leaves a huge hole in your print. Printing it solid does take a little bit more time. Well, actually, no, it doesn't take any much more time. It's just making the hole in it and making the model set up for it takes a lot of time. And then cleaning up afterwards, that takes a ton of time. So it's easier just to print it in full solid. I also have like gallons of printing fluid, so it doesn't really matter for me. Um, and the part just comes out a lot more sturdy. So yeah, it feels more real when it's fully solid.
Oh,
Yeah.
Satan.
Once I can get it painted, I'd love to show y'all. I do need to do a lot of cleaning up. Some of the support kind of got stuck because I got it too close to the bottom. Yeah, Lychee's nice. It's just very how do I say it? Pay to win.
Pricey
So
software.
yeah, yeah. Lychee's
Ah,
like they every time you export, you have to watch a 30-second ad. Like it's terrible. The tool's nice. Like it definitely does some really good stuff. And I actually use it to
okay.
make the supports for this tool. But that's all I use it for. Once the model is exported, I actually bring it into Hallett box because I'm using an old like Creality 3D printer. So it needs like a specific file format to print in. So I just use Lychee for the support structure and then Hallett the actual file output. That's more technical than I want to get into it though.
I want to learn a little bit of parametric modeling more. I've only did it in like community college a little bit, but and a little bit before. But I figured I'd
You can. Sorry. Go ahead.
probably figure out how to like add some of the mechanics or make it easier to make some of the stuff for this. Like I can imagine getting some like clear resin or some kind of plastic that is transparent for like the crystals
Oh yeah.
and
So I need to show you the high poly model that I made for this, which actually did employ some fixes we need to put on the normal tool handle, by the way. Um, I separated that little sphere so that you can print a version with and without it. And then there's also usually a little rounded part up the top where the tool actually connects to the handle. I took the sphere off that too. And
yeah,
that's also optional so that people can replace it with like, say for the ball that's down there, we could do like half spheres of some kind of like gemstone, which you can get off like one of the stores or something, some shiny. And then like
mhm,
the top part, instead of a ball, we can do like a little neodymium magnet, which we can like do tool snapping.
yeah, or even like a ring magnet, and then put a crystal in the middle. That way you still have it. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking. And I was also thinking of modifying the trigger for it to make it an actual button, because that isn't too hard to engineer. And even changing the middle part there to be potentially able to be CNC'd out of wood. But depends on
Mm-hmm.
like how much we want to do, because parts of this is metal.
Well, when you 3D print something and like paint it, you can have it look one to one with whatever
Yeah.
you're making, depending on like the paints you use, the materials. Someone brought up the question of like making a hollow but then filling it with epoxy. Epoxy is nice, but you'd have to get a special type that doesn't have a high curing temperature because a lot of epoxy actually gets extremely hot when it's curing and it would melt the plastic or outright set it on fire.
Mm.
And you might be like, oh, it doesn't get that hot. No, it can. It can get that hot. It will burn things. And if I get like say a low temp curing resin, it might take, especially for something this thick, months to uh, a few months to cure fully. It's just easier to print the whole thing solid.
Mm. Well,
12-hour print. This one.
yeah. Yeah, Phoenix asks 3D resin isn't a thermoplastic, right?
It depends on the plastic you get, and some of them are heat resistant, some of them aren't. This one, I'm not sure what it does. It says it's PLA like. Uh, I have no idea what it would do when it gets hot. But generally, you don't want heat in plastic because it will still warp, especially whenever like it comes off the print bed. I mean, I guess I could cure it and then try to like fill it, but
Yeah. Well, on that note, may as well call it a stream. And yeah, if folks have more questions for like the office hours, there will be a forum post again in the Discord for people to ask there if they missed uh, like the chance to ask a question, if they aren't going to be available to ask it next week, or if they just want to ask it right away, they can. Look for it in the office hours channel in the Discord. It'll be there. As well as definitely check out the rest of the office hours that the Resonite team does. There's Probable Prime's Tuesday primetime office hours on Discord. On the stage there, there's the moderation office hours every Sunday, as well with Veer and Git. And after that, Fuchs and Saru usually does their office hours on Sundays as well, about 2 hours after. The moderation office hours also on Sunday. The Resonance podcast, as it's called, definitely worth checking them out and asking questions there. As well as I hope folks have a good evening or morning, depending on where they are. And take care.
yep.
Yeah, I'll
See y'all later.
definitely
Thank you for coming.
I'll definitely check out the Discord event stuff. Other folks might not change their times and might just stick with the daylight savings time, but I think for our own sake, I'm just gonna change the our team office hours to be about this time, unless if folks wants it earlier. So yeah, you all take care and have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye.